Hey, red-black Arcanist. An attack, she gets cast instant or sorcery with mana value less than or equal to its power from her graveyard without paying its mana cost. She recasts Fatal Pushes and Unholy Heats and Thoughtseizes, Inquisitions, and Village Rites. We've got Dragon Rage Chandler and Kroxa for closing games out with heavier beaters. We've got Citrus Supplier to fill the graveyard up. And then obviously we tie the whole thing together by playing some Lurrus of the Dream Dent here. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this one and see how it goes. To be 4 slow land instead of 2 Fabled Passage. Fabled Passage has a lot of value in my Kroxa deck. Chat! This is a verified Twitter account. The largest, most influential gathering of conservatives in the world. So, canceling Dr. Seuss, broke. Canceling Big Bird, Bert, and Ernie, woke. Like, it's just like... Oh, God. What is the United States of America? Yikes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they consider it whatever the opposite of woke is, right? It's one of those where you have to double take and be like, wait, no, that's not the real Twitter account. This has got to be parody. I feel like I need to go watch a current episode of South Park, because I'm genuinely confused what they could possibly be writing about. I think South Park is on my HBO Max subscription. The pandemic mostly. Okay. Like I feel like the satire is mostly dead, right? Has it been a while? I thought they were still airing new seasons. Current politics feels like the stuff Veep writers would have cut out of the show because it was too unbelievable. Yeah. In the year 2021, the U.S. Republican Party had a full-blown Twitter war with Big Bird, the exciting incident, and receiving a vaccination. Listen, all I'm going to say is, if there's a history book that puts it in that way, that means the reasonable people won out and got to write history, okay? Because depending on who gets to write history, that could be framed very differently. Are we dead? It feels like we're dead, chat. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying the daily deck digest. Groovy Mule, thanks for the 23 months. Thanks for keeping me around making stuff. Their things were much bigger than our things, yeah. Alright, so we have a Soul Guide Lantern. Is another piece of Graveyard Hate. I think this is a discard spell out matchup. Just bring in the removal spells. The reasonable people are more likely to win because the unreasonable people are unvaccinated. Dark, but true. I don't think we can afford to take damage from this. Witch's Vengeance might be okay here. Do I want a cheeky go blank? They don't actually have that much graveyard stuff. And like they empty their hand relatively quickly. Oh yeah, making them discard madness stuff is also not great. Good shout. All right, it looks like we're gonna get a mulligan on our first matchup. Nope, wait, this hand's great. JK, LOL, keep. I'm gonna hold this back because if I attack, they're not gonna block, and then they hit me for one in the backswing. And I think we're probably the more controlling deck in this matchup. So trading 1 point of damage for us taking 1 point of damage doesn't seem particularly profitable. Impromptu. Thanks for the 2 entire years. Welcome back. You can't stand the heat. Get off of the battlefield. If they have another Unholy Heat, going all in on this Kroxa is not great, but... And the fact that they played that first one aggressively makes me think maybe they have another... Okay, so ideally, I want to keep Delirium in here, and I want to somewhat prioritize things that, what's it called, can flashback? Arcanist? Right, do they really not have another Unholy Heat? Oh, considerations for Lurrus 2 or exiling. Yeah, that's true. Good shout. This is madness, chat. Madness. For the follow, Master. Okay, so they could have killed my Kroxa and chose not to. Something to note there. Okay, so they're going to 8. Let's get our life blinker down. Get to replay Darcy. Yeah, lifelink beats those things though, Tumos. Yeah, I think I'm happy with how we boarded. Let's just run it back. Come on, Phaser, I'm doing all right. Get a pretty sweet green-black control deck in Standard to start today. Trying to see if we can find something reasonable for Historic. BT dubs. I am getting close to the end of deck submissions I have to play through that people have donated to submit. So while there's no guarantee I get to everything, if you're a supporter who's in the subs Discord and you have anything sweet for Standard or Historic, I'm going to be looking for things to play. So feel free to tag me in those places with deck lists. So I think I want to wait to play this until I can get some value off of it. So I think we're going to Stitcher Supplier plus tapped Dragonskull Summit here. And then these two are both untapped after that. So we'll have 3 mana next turn and go like Pyromancer, hold Village Rites. I don't think a mono artifact deck is likely to be very good in Historic. Is Neoform playable? I don't know that Neoform is good, but I definitely would dork around with Neoform for an hour or so. It's a funny deck to pop off with. It's very novel. Things that are novel are always fine suggestions / submissions. Kill it with fire! And then they're probably going to use the Soul Guide Lantern to nuke my graveyard, but that's fine, because then they're not drawing a card with it. We played Rakdos Vampires in Standard. We have. It's a deck I think I want to revisit, though. We should find one of the lists that did Volta tournaments. What about Brawl? Unfortunately, I don't envision myself doing Brawl content in the short term. The metrics for it just can't justify continuing to play it. And minimal support on all of the sub-survey stuff, and then the actual viewer numbers when push came to shove were pretty mediocre. Okay. Innistrad is like always an incredible slam dunk for the flavor of the sets. Just do an excellent job with the setting. Yeah, Innistrad and Ravnica are definitely their two strongest planes, and it's not close. So if I looting and we hit an untapped land, we can escape Kroxa. And I get an extra look here too. I have to give up the looting flashback, but that's fine. We can attack first here as well. They definitely have Delirium, but even if they have an Unholy Heat here, the Unholy Heat will kill Kroxa, and then their other card will go away, and they'll be empty-handed, and we still have these 2+ Lurrus, so we're ahead. Ox is pretty good. Okay, and we have a game here now because they have Ox as their last card. Oh, that wasn't an Ox. It was a Seasoned Pyromancer. Pardon my vision. So we milled a Lantern there with Supplier. So Lurrus is going to get to turn off their graveyard next turn, which is great. Yeah, this is why I just shouldn't put deck titles in the stream anymore. Thank you for the heads up. Let's go back to putting the format in there. I've even just said Arena Constructed a few times. It makes me sad that being informative isn't worth anything in the content sphere. Like, if anything, informative content actually does worse than non-informative content, because clickbait is valuable as a content aspect. Being slightly vague to get people, yeah, being informative is actually harmful. We just escape Kroxa here, probably, right? I suppose I could also K-command, discard this, pick Lurrus up, and then play Dreadhorde Arcanist. And then Arcanist can, like, flashback heats. Could be reasonable here, too. And they're down to 9 here, right? So, like, my Darcy trigger and then my Kroxa trigger both have a lot of value here. Am I... Wait, are they dead? They're dead, right? So we attack with this, and then we claim the Kroxa, escape the Kroxa. They're empty-handed, they die? Yeah, good stuff. Cast Bump in the Night. Sweet. Bump in the Night. It's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Good recovery after they ran us down in that first game, huh? I have no idea who he was. Yeah, I liked the Crimson Bowhead. Little animated short that they did. Honestly, a number of the animated shorts that they've done give me some small, vain amount of hope that the Netflix series won't be a total dumpster fire. That being said, the Netflix series is going to focus on planeswalkers and not just the Magic world, so maybe it'll be a dumpster fire. I feel like the planeswalker personalities are some of the driest, most bland parts of the Magic Vorthos. To date myself for a moment, I think I preferred it. I think I preferred it when, like, you know, Gerard, Cissé, Squee et al. Were, like, the characters we were supposed to care about. Oh, if I'd have drawn Kroxa there, we could have Village Rites the Kroxa. Yeah, whether like crew represent you. You always found League character design dry. So, as someone who's only experienced Riot's games through Legends of Runeterra, Legends of Runeterra as a card game actually does a really good job of translating their stories to the game. I think it's pretty difficult in general. Am I binning this? I think I am, I just want to fill the bin for Kroxa. I think it's pretty difficult in general to translate stories through a MOBA, whereas like translating stories through a card game is much easier. Like cards are like short stories in many ways. It doesn't surprise me that like the League Vorthos doesn't feel good just through Leagues, the type of game that it is. Feel like that's not a very good world building style thing. Hey, I'm a Gregoro. Thanks for the quarter of year. Welcome back. This is getting milled anyways, so I might as well just get rid of it so we can build deeper. We must go deeper. I think we just Dreadhorde Arcanist, right? Land into the bin is cleared for liftoff. Roger Dodger over and out. Darcy is clear for takeoff. Yeah, Eldraine gets a lot of shit from Magic players, and rightfully so because of the power level misses that Eldraine had. But I think from a flavor and core design standpoint, I actually really like Eldraine as a setting. And I actually think it's a little sad in a way that that setting's going to like take a bad rap because of like what it did during its time in Standard. It's a little unfortunate. Do I want to trade my Arcanist for their Gurmgully? I think the answer is yes. Adventure cards are just too good. I don't think that's strictly true. I think the adventure mechanic at its core is a sweet design. And I think that the numbers were just a little bit too pushed. Yeah. Like, for example, imagine a world where Bone Crusher Giant doesn't curve into itself. Hey, Pearl Trident, thanks for the sub-gifts. I'm glad you're enjoying the Mass Effect playthrough. I've been having a ton of fun with it. Really, really glad I ended up dipping into that one when someone recommended it. Got you.
Hi, Henry. Thank you.
All right, fine. Maybe I should have taken the trade with this. I do just get to escape another one here, though. And it means my Dragon Rage Chandler lives. Village Rites, Village Rites. Extra Kroxa, Stitcher Supplier, Stitcher Supplier. We are functionally at 7, you are correct. Clean sideboard playing here. Discard spells out. Extra threats, Witch's Vengeance removal spells in. Feels good. Speaking of Eldraine, I actually think if you asked me to pick out, Jeff, you're defending Eldraine a lot. Is there anything bad in Eldraine? Dabs Unite. That is a giant pile of sub-gifts. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for that very generous support. And remember, to those of you that have been given your new gift of speech, if you're not sure what to do with it, Dabs or another mod would always be happy to help you with a complimentary timeout. See, hand's probably not good enough, right? I guess we have Darcy. I guess this plus this gives me 3 looks. What, we get a draw step? Maybe it is good enough. All right, well, let's YOLO. Let's YOLO. You get draw step plus 3 more. I'm gonna surveil in 2. Let's just hit it on 2 like a professional and play Young Pyromancer. Wow, that's heckin' rude. And Evil Penguin, thanks for the brand new Prime support. Appreciate it. That is one thing I'll say about this particular variation of this archetype is our deck is super heavily dependent on the graveyard. It definitely does not feel great against things like Relic and Rest in Peace. It is part of the reason why we have things like Young Pyromancer in the sideboard, I'm sure. So you can have a threat that doesn't depend on the graveyard directly, but graveyard hate is very, very good against this build as constructed. Thanks for all the time units, Sutters. Welcome back. Welcome to chat, Big Mouths. Sedgemoor Witch, Poppet, and Young Pyromancer. Nice. All right, Anecdotal, that was rude. Don't bully the new subs unless they ask to be bullied. Okay, it was a little bit funny, but I'm gonna undo it. Feels like we're getting pushed out here. Bully me, baby. One full Hoglandian, please.
You want to go, tough guy?
The fact that Witch's Vengeance doesn't even fully clear out the Putrid Goblet is also not great for us. Of course, EMPJ. I think we're done here. Our deck mostly getting neutered by Relic is not a good look. It's actually the reason why there are two of the black destroy enchantment cards in the sideboard is because of Rest in Peace. I mean, we kept this last time, right? Four looks is a lot. Draw step, surveil, draw two. Good shot at land number 2 here. Remember, to our new gift subs, you should pop in the subs Discord server. Especially if you have sweet deck lists I should consider playing on stream at some point. In the not too distant future. We try and play a lot of things here on stream. And the only reason we're able to get to as much variety as we do is because you all at home send in lots of great ideas. Nailed it. Never didn't have it. I think I probably want both discard spells and 2 removal spells. Let's bin these. Start here, see what they're doing. Yeah, I think I'm in for land number 3. Yeah, I think that's a good take, Dwight. Hands like this keep just come with the territory. No, we're past the point of only playing decks with just new cards in them, Drunk Owl. Or far enough from the set release that we're not doing that. Hey, Incinerator, thanks for the subgifties. It's very generous of you. Good morning. We need more cannon fodder. I mean, you're not wrong. I think I'm into an Arcanist here. Trail of Crumbs, I think. Oh, if we don't have new people to pick up the shovels, we'll never have enough people to keep toiling in the fields, Boshek. It's more, as more people graduate to knighthood, we need fresh people with shovels. It's a shame we don't have one more land. If they have an untapped land tier, this is going to get to kill Arcanist before it gets to do its thing. Thanks for the follow, Belda. The sacred palm trees on Arcus require the water of 100 men each day to survive. My wife and I just watched the first episode, part, whatever you want to call it, of Dune. That's pretty reasonable. I enjoyed it. I guess we just do this because if we spike the untapped land, we can escape it back next turn. I think my actual only complaint about the Dune movie, and I say this knowing that it's listed as Dune Part 1, is that usually movies that, even if they're Part 1, Part 2, or a series, have some sort of, like, feeling of closing at the end of it. And I just felt like they literally just, like, turned the movie off in the middle of it. Like, it was good. I actually thought the pacing was fine. It's just like a longer story. I just feel like they cut it off in the middle. Yeah, there was no closure, is the right word, yeah. Alright, so I get to keep... I have to exile 5 cards. So I'm gonna keep looting and fame, obviously. Claim fame. Probably prioritize keeping some other things. Like this. Actually keep the creatures, so that way I can get those back with Lurrus down the line. Oh, wow. They just been to Binding of the Old Gods. So what did they keep? Kroxa, got it. We actually talked about this a bit yesterday, but calling something the Lord of the Rings of sci-fi doesn't really help me because I've never watched The Lord of the Rings. It doesn't help me contextualize your message. Are we... thing's so big. Am I just racing this? I think I'm just racing this, Darcy. Are Lord of the Rings T or M, chat? How old do my children have to be before I can watch it with them? T, okay. You're definitely a little on the scary side, right? Yeah, T or M means teen or mature. It's the US rating system for movies. That is an aggressive attack. I respect it. Has anybody played this matchup from either side? These are like, oh god. So we just like can't win now, right? It's like actually can't beat the cat. Brenthwell, thanks for the follow. Yikes. We actually just have like no counter. I think you might have pressed the opposite button rather than refunding them, Dabs. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity this morning. It's afternoon in some places, almost here in the cornfields. We're a small creature aggro deck. We have a bad food man. I mean, so Lantern doesn't really interact with the cat, right? Like it. I guess we could go wide. Those are on purpose. Good. Good. I think going wide is our best bet. I don't have that many things that Fatal Push kills. And like, Feed the Swarm, kill. Maybe we do bring in Feed the Swarm, because killing Corvold is so important. Let's try this. I have to imagine a matchup where our Kroxa can never attack profitably is not good for us, though. Fellowship of the Ring came out 20 years ago next month. Wow, those are that old, aren't they? Yeah, I guess I remember them from growing up. Thanks for the 26 months, Exos Prime. Welcome back. Generally speaking, in order for Soul Guide Lantern or something like Go Blank to exile Cat, your opponent has to make a pretty bad mistake. Yeah, the world setting in Dune felt weird. Like, they had, like, these shields and they have spaceships, but they also just, like, have a bunch of swords and stuff. Not bad, just a unique blend. Land. Well... a fast Kroxa might have gotten us through this. They could have also just, like, have a Fatal Push or a Binding, too, though. Okay. What's going on, Dante? Of course. Okay, so I'll take the second binding here. So that way when we eventually get to Kroxa, I can hopefully hang out for a bit. I don't know if I want to exile the cat yet. So I have a window, right? Like I can chill until they have something that threatens to make food. So like there's no instant speed food in this format, right? So I can just kinda chill. We'll leave Pyromancer in here for Lurrus, and Arcanist in here for Lurrus. Instant ramen, create half a food token. Well, I'm like, there's some times where it's like right to do things proactively, right? You kind of want to ask yourself that question, like, okay, do they have something that can punish me for waiting? And there's going to be cases where they can, and it is right to just like pull the trigger proactively. It's because it's definitely something you have to balance a little bit where you can wait too long and then get punished. Oh, shoot! I missed that I was gonna have 7 cards in here. I totally could have kept that land and then escaped Kroxa here. That's a punt. Yeet! For the 25th month indeed, Jellyfish. Thanks for the tier 2. Welcome back. Good afternoon. We were talking about historic decks. Storm Chaser Drake is actually a card I wanna dork around with a little bit. We played a Jeskai Lurrus deck for a little while, and I think that Storm Chaser Drake would go into really nicely. There's also Jeskai Feather variations that are probably worth considering. Why we've been sitting on this. The problem here is Korvald's gonna get to draw, what, 3 cards before it dies? So it already drew 1. The Goose will eat a food to draw a card. The Treasure draws a card. They sack the Korvald to the Witches of it to draw a card, make 2 more foods. Don't worry, chat. Korvald's in a supplemental commander product that shouldn't be standard playable. Oh, and they get to do this too. Gross. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, this matchup seems abysmal. It's actually unwinnable. And I always like. I had wondered why this deck wasn't more popular that we're playing, and playing this matchup makes me understand. The food decks are definitely the best decks in Historic at the moment. And having a kind of mediocre matchup into them is not a great scene. And Abrade help deal with them. But I mean, like, the Abrade helps deal with specifically the oven portion of it. But, like, they still just drown us in cards, right? Like, the Corvalds, the Trail of Crumbs, they gain a bunch of life with all the food lying around. I don't think we have enough, not even think, we don't have enough data to say that Historic needs bans. I think there's a good chance it's just fine. I will say, I've always thought it was weird that they banned Cat Oven in Historic, in Standard, citing that it was too tedious to play against on Magic Arena, and then they left it legal in Historic, which is a Magic Arena only format. So that bit of inconsistency in how they apply their logic and rulings around bans has always been something that I've had a bit of an awkward problem with, the way Wizard manages their stuff. Probably the Madness deck again. I'll lead on Stitcher Supplier here so we can threaten to trade here. We have land creature instant in here. We're gonna dip a sorcery or an artifact. Oh, this is a sorcery. Perfect. Dragon Raid Chandler, we are cleared for liftoff. Roger, Dodger, over and out. Hey, what's going on, Logan? Hey, what's going on, Duck Doolittle? Yeah, if you're someone that enjoys my Pokemon Unite stuff, the Talonflame highlight that I posted today, I think is one of the best video sets I've posted for that game. It's real sweet. I liked it a lot. The group that I recorded that with last night, we went a collective 7-0 in our ladder matches. It's good stuff. Do I want another Stitcher Supplier? I feel like I do. I think I want that to, like, gas the bin back up after we escape this Kroxa. Oh, gosh. What a beating. Ugh. God, being all in on the graveyard hurts, chat. Man, that's brutal. Yeah, it really feels like the power level of this deck isn't high enough to make up for how badly it gets hosed by these graveyard hate cards. Because, man, are we getting hosed by graveyard hate in these matches. Yeah, it's like, actually, like, just dead, right? There's 1, 2 things in here, so Lurrus doesn't even bring anything back. Habahat! Thanks for the 20 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I agree. I feel like you could have, like, a little bit of incidental graveyard stuff in your deck, but just, like, being in on Kroxa or Lurrus or any of these, like, being in on multiple especially feels bad. And, like, playing, like, dedicated graveyard enablers like Stitcher Supplier just leaves you in such a mediocre spot. They're beginning the first human trials on an Alzheimer's vaccine. So it's a vaccine, not a treatment. So it's a preventative measure. That's interesting. Science is great shit. I like science. It would be an incredible breakthrough. I think we cut these dedicated graveyard enablers here. I'm gonna leave in a couple Inquisitions and bring in a couple of Witch's Vengeance. One of the, you know, to look through silver linings, that was gonna be my question. Is it RNA based? Because RNA vaccines are something that have been studied for decades, but like obviously with COVID, a ton of extra money was pumped into it. And the amount of breakthroughs they've had with that piece of type of technology in general has just been incredible, thanks to the investments due to COVID. My children were having a supervised visit with a anti-vax relative who we made get a negative COVID test before coming over to visit, and Declan had asked them why they didn't get vaccinated because they knew they weren't vaccinated. And they were like, well, they told Declan, like, well, I'm just not ready. And Declan goes, well, they let literal 6-year-olds get it, so you should probably just do it. I had never been so proud as a parent before, chat. It was just excellent. Just very, very good. Hey, Blue Fire, thanks for the Prime. I appreciate the 15 months. Welcome back. I think we chill on the Kroxa because I want to Fatal. Oh, God. Chat. Why do they have our number, chat? Yes, the the CDC has approved it for 5 to 11. My children are getting scheduled to get it before the end of the month. And by that, I mean the state-provided, the county-provided ones have been full, and we need to call Walgreens and figure out which of the pharmacies around here have them, because I know some of the pharmacies do. There it is, chat. There it is. We have a Doomblade for it this time, at least. The Alzheimer's vaccine uses a substance called protalin, which stimulates the immune system. Protalin is designed to activate white blood cells found in lymph nodes on the sides and back of the neck to migrate to the brain and trigger the clearance of beta amyloid plaques, one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. Neat. Technology is wild. We tried Bard class in Standard, and it didn't really keep up with what was going on, but we haven't tried it in Historic, and it has some other more powerful tools than Historic, so that might be worth trying again. Yeah, we actually haven't checked with the local pharmacies, because we did ours through the county, but the county's been backed up. So probably gonna go with CVS or whatever. Give them a call. All right. Rada's a little scary. It's to smack us for infinite damage here. Oh my god, they drew a removal spell. I mean, I have to chump block next turn, right? So probably it doesn't matter. We're probably just dead. It's +7/+7, right? Hey, Westlake, thanks for the almost 3 years. I appreciate the support. Welcome back. So, I think I'm gonna be done with this one. I definitely understand why after playing this deck, why it's not as popular as it, like, cause like, you look at this deck and it's playing a ton of powerful cards, but then when you think about what the average thing is going on in the format, the graveyard part of this deck just does not feel good. There's just so much incidental graveyard hate. And when you don't play against graveyard hate, like, the deck feels very reasonable and powerful. It's just with Phoenix being one of the headlining decks in the format, everybody has graveyard hate, and a lot of them even have reasonable bits main deck, right? Like even we have a piece of main deck graveyard hate just because it's relatively free. I definitely don't think we're an exception. I think that's probably pretty average, and that being the average means that this shell's just not quite powerful enough.